On February 4th, Fantastic Four finally revealed the first teaser. February 4th, or F4 for short. That's a pun from Marvel, and right away with the creature, Galactus, and Johnny Storm, as well as John Malkovich's mysterious character, retrofuturism, and, of course, the family, Dominic Toretto definitely liked the trailer. Well, we'll be very happy to take it apart in the next couple of minutes, and we'll be even more happy to read your comments about the trailer. After all, Marvel has completely fallen into it. Hello, you're watching The Final Cut. The Kennedy Space Center was rented for the announcement, and the entire top 4 actors who personally pressed the button were invited to the premiere. Such a pleasure is not cheap, and the solution was found right inside the event. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and the presenter vied to talk about the film, which will begin a new phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the literal sense, we are talking about the 6th phase, which will end with Secret Wars. Figuratively, of course, it's like a hint to viewers of a new era of Marvel after a soft reboot of the universe. It's like a promise that we've improved, and now everything is expensive and beautiful as before. Do we believe? The long-awaited appearance of the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will take place this summer. Well, the trailer opens with a view of retro-futuristic New York of the 1960s, in which the events of the film will unfold in an alternate universe, and which looks like the most ordinary New York. They just attached a balloon to one of the skyscrapers. It's far from the retrofuturism that we were shown on the poster, but Marvel should be forgiven here. The graphics of the film are frankly at an early stage. There are problems with the movement of the creature's lips. Galactus is only from the back, and Bent Mr. Fantastic was not shown at all. It is clear that the city has not yet been completed, but here Marvel should meet it halfway. After all, this is another proof of a new phase where work has been done on errors. The first teaser of Thor 5 was shown 2 months before the premiere, and of Quantumania 3 months before. In previous phases, Marvel gave out trailers with the stinginess of an old lady in a pharmacy, tearing them from her heart a few days before release. And here there is no teaser, almost 6 months before the release. A small but also important detail in changing the approach to the viewer. Well, they showed him Ben Grimm, who, in the company of the robot assistant of the Fantastic Four, Herbie, is preparing to eat, which is a hilarious reference to the role of Eben Moss Backrack in the acclaimed TV series The Bear. There he played the manager of a restaurant and also knew a lot about food. However, in the comics, the creature also liked to cook periodically and is even famous for his own pizza recipe, so nothing is far-fetched here. Next up is the first flight of the Four into space. There are no secrets here. The director of the film, Matt Sheckman, said that he was trying to reproduce the atmosphere of the space race and the attention of all mankind to space in that era. Hence the cosmic style of the trailer announcement and the video that was shown at Comic-Con in the summer, where all the attention is also on space. Obviously, the Fantastic Four in this reality will be the first people in space. Well then, just like in the comics, something goes wrong. What exactly? There are many options. In the original comics, published at a time when little was known about space, the ship was exposed to radiation of unknown energy in orbit, which gave the Four superpowers. Then a negative zone was attached to the story, an alternate dimension in which Annihilus lives, dreaming of enslaving our universe. Well, in the movies, they can even add something multiverse, because it's clear that, almost at the end of the film, the foursome will have to face the multiverse. After all, you have to get involved in the house somehow. The important difference between the Fantastic Four and basically all the superheroes of that era is that they never tried to hide. Rather, on the contrary, the guys took care of their skyscraper and lived in full view of everyone, helping those who wanted to as much as possible. The Four became the first popular Marvel team among the people, and therefore both children and adults are in the trailer in their merchandise inside the universe. Merch of other heroes is unlikely because the action in the 60s and at the time of the release of the original comics, which Marvel obviously relies on, there were no Avengers, Defenders, and Sons of Midnight yet. So there are hardly any references to be expected. You don't need them when you have a damn Galactus in the movie. It is he who most likely enters the atmosphere in the rather shocking nighttime footage of the explosion. And it is his shadow that covers New York, and the trailer sparingly gives a shot from the back of his head. This shot, in fact, became the main bone of contention among fans. After all, the main complaint about the 2007 film is that the guys made Galactus an amorphous cloud that devours planets. whereas in the comics, he literally devours them. Galactus is a giant the size of a planet, and it seemed to many fans in the trailer that, of course, he was healthy, but by comic standards, he was too small. This is a silly accusation because in the comics, Galactus could easily change shape and size at will, and in the last teaser we saw a much larger version of him. So there is every reason to believe that the film will use this ability. But what abilities will John Malkovich use? The trailer showed his character briefly, but it is unlikely that such a popular actor was given such a small role. Malkovich's Wikipedia page claims that he plays the Red Ghost. This is a Soviet scientist who took part in the space race and, after the story of the Fantastic Four, built a ship designed specifically to get into the same radiation that gave the family superpowers. It worked, but with a nuance. The Red Ghost did not take people with him, but a gorilla, a baboon, and an orangutan, and they all got superpowers. Gorilla Mikhail's superpowers and endurance, Baboon Igor reincarnation and transformation, orangutan telekinesis. The Red Ghost himself became the mirror of the Invisible Woman, disappearing from view and controlling the force fields. Well, he called the team Super Monkeys, because as you know, monkeys are a force together. It's not hard to guess that the Fantastic Four were constantly fighting against the Mirror Team. According to the Red Ghost version, the battle was fought for victory in the space race and domination of the moon. Considering the director's comments, we may well see this option in the film. But do not forget that Wikipedia is not the most truthful resource, and Malkovich can play anyone. For example, the aged Franklin Richards, the son of Sue and Reed. There is also a lot of talk about his inclusion in the film, but these are still theories. Well, as for the version of how the Four will cope with Galactus, a carriage, and a small cart. Again, in the comic, he was defeated with the help of the Silver Surfer, whose female version, Shalabal, appears in the film, played by Julia Garner. Reed even took an oath from Galactus never to try to devour the Earth again, and then allied with him. We won't talk about it here because there is a more important thing in the trailer that we want to talk about. This is Reed, working at a board on which the drawings of wormholes are clearly visible. In the comics, Mr. Fantastic created a bridge across the multiverse in this way, allowing him to travel anywhere. It begs the theory that Galactus will destroy their Earth after all, and the Fantastic Four will be forced to flee to the main Marvel universe because, in the end, they somehow need to be dragged there. But the easy way is not always for Marvel, so the cinematic universe may come up with something of its own. For example, the Write-Off Richards Council, which is also expected to appear in the film. In any case, this version of Mr. Fantastic in the multiverse is already being sorted out, and this point is worth remembering, as well as the fact that composer Michael Giacchino seems to have been born to write music for the film. It's been a long time since Marvel has looked at such a good soundtrack, which, together with the original visual style, looks incredible. By the way, Marvel's chief specialist for the 60s, Matt Sheckman, is responsible for the style. He was shooting WandaVision, and the screenside resizing feature from the beginning of the trailer came from there. As in general, the concept of the project is fresh and original for Marvel, so we are looking forward to it. And of course, we are expecting Dr. Doom. Considering that he looks exactly like Tony Stark, Doom must also come from another universe. No one comes to mind except the Fantastic Four universe. And after all, Victor Von Doom is the main villain of the team. It would be strange for Marvel to reinvent the wheel in such an obvious situation, and Robert Downey Jr. should be at least briefly or as a reference in the film. But it's clear that it's not in the teaser, where most of the time should be devoted to the team itself. So we don't get too upset here. After all, the rest of us are waiting for a tooth-crushing cannon. Finally, the Invisible Woman's abilities are not just about invisibility. The creature was given his signature eyebrows, and Joseph Queen's Johnny Storm looks almost better than the comic book version. And Marvel took the rest of the elements from them too, so you don't have to worry about the plot. Everything has been thought up by Stan Lee for a long time, and it is impossible to fail here. The only funny thing is that Fantastic Four is the last Marvel movie before Doomsday. Anyway, the future crossover needs to be teased somehow. But there's good news here because the script for the Fantastic Four was written back when Avengers 5 was titled Kang Dynasty. However, when it was changed to Doomsday, the Fantastic Four were not rushed to reshoot, as it was, for example, with Captain America 4. This means that we can say for sure that 99% of the film has nothing to do with the Avengers. This is both a plus and a minus, because you certainly want to get the Doomsday teaser. But that's why Marvel came up with the post-credits scenes where we definitely get our way. Kevin Feige has already confirmed that the Fantastic Four will be a key participant in both parts of the Avengers, so you definitely don't have to worry about the future of the team. Well, to be happy for you and me. After all, this summer, with an interval of 2 weeks, we will see first Superman and then the Four. It's been a long time since there's been such a festival of high-profile superheroes at the same time. But who will win the duel? Man of Steel or the first Marvel family? Who will be able to raise more money and win the hearts of the public? Place your bets in the comments, and that's it for now. See you soon, friends!